it works for me for now. Okay, so now I'm able to transport myself based on following these breadcrumb rocks. But what I want to do is I actually want to change scenes to another scene once I get to the end of the line. And rather than use this breadcrumb script, I want to create a script that is actually going to transform the scene to a new scene when I click on it. So I'm going to remove that breadcrumb script and I'm going to create a new script called change scene. Add it to my game object. And I'm going to edit this script. And to start, I'm actually going to copy my code from my breadcrumb script to my change scene script. Because I want the material change function of the gaze in and gaze out to work the same way. However, what I want to change is what I put into this pointer click. I want to put in a change scene. I want to change the scene when I click the button rather than transport to the next location. So I'm going to have to include a new library in order to work with scene changing. And these are the libraries that are included at the top of our code up here. And the library that I want to use is something called Scene Manager. And you can see that, so in order to include that, I'm going to have to include this line of code using Unity Engine Scene Management at the top of my script. So I'm going to come into Visual Studio and in my change scene, and right under using Unity Engine, I'm going to say using Unity Engine Scene Management. And that allows me to now work with scene syntax inside of my code. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new public variable. I'm actually going to make this variable a string. And I'm going to call it scene name, like so. And this is going to store the name of the scene that I want to load when I click on this game object. So then if I come to on pointer click, so I'm going to use the scene manager to load a new scene. So I'm going to use the scene manager to load a new scene when I click on the trigger. And I'm going to put the string name of the scene that we want to load as the variable. So the syntax for how to do this, which I'll also link to documentation below, is scene manager load scene. Open up some parentheses, and then the first parameter of this function is the scene that we want to load. So I'm going to load my scene name. Now, when I click on this particular rock, it's going to load the scene that I define in the variable. So let's go ahead and save this, come back to Unity. And now I'm going to change the name of this rock to change scene, just so I can identify it. I'm also going to move it to the top of my rocks hierarchy. And I can see I need to, I'm going to add the green material to its inactive material. And I'm actually going to duplicate this highlight material, but I'm going to make it a slightly, I'm going to say scene highlights, but I'm going to make it a different color so that we can differentiate it. So I'm going to have it emit a kind of like blue color. There we go. And then in my change scene, I can now see in my script I have the inactive material. I've added the gazed material. I can add the player, and I have a space to add a scene name. So now I need to define the scene I want to change. So I'm going to just go ahead and create a new scene. I'm going to call it scene 2. And then in my component of that rock, I'm just going to write scene 2 exactly as it appears in the name of the scene I want to change it to. Now, in order for this change scene to work, all of the scenes that you are linking together need to be included in your build settings. So if I go to File, Build Settings, I add Open Scenes, Assignment Frame Recorder, I need to also drag my Scene 2 into my build settings in order for these to link. So if I go ahead and hit play, I'm going to keep, and then I'm moving along through my scene. Okay, so now here I am. This is my rock. It behaves slightly differently. It turns blue instead of orange. And now when I click this rock, it's going to move me to the new scene. Now it doesn't actually move your player, and this is important to note. I am now in a new scene with a new camera, a new environment, new everything. So it's important that you recognize you're not pulling one set of game objects directly into another scene. You're just restarting a whole new scene from the